Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all, depending on your location and wherever you are. Alright, it's really good to have you back on my channel after 2 solid years. Yes, I've been away for 2 years, but then I'm excited to be back, stronger, better, and of course more experienced. So today I'm gonna be walking you down um Photoshop. Through Photoshop, I'm gonna be teaching you how to navigate Photoshop for beginners and maybe even non-beginners, but then those who still want to learn. So without wasting much of your time, guys, without wasting much of your time, let's set the ball rolling. Alright, Photoshop already. Whenever I launch a Photoshop, this is exactly how it comes out. This is exactly how it looks like. And so there are two methods, basic methods of opening a file or creating a new document. As you can see, we have new file down here and we have open. Now whenever I want to create a new file or a new blank document, what we'll do is go down to new file. And before I proceed, I would like to explain what Photoshop is widely made use of. Okay, first, it's widely made use of by photo editors. They usually use it to edit pictures or manipulate pictures, and it can be also, or it could be also used for design. So today I'm going to be touching both sides. I'm going to be touching a little of the photography aspect. I'll be going more in depth into the graphic design aspect, that's for designs. All right, so as I said earlier, when we launch our Photoshop, this is how it looks like. And I'm going to be opening an image right now because I'm going to be starting with the photography aspect of this. I'm going to be opening an image and show you how to make some little changes on your images, especially when you want to make use of them for designs. So to do that, I'll first of all go down to open. I'll select open. Then when I select open, I'm going to be selecting where my image is. And this is the image I'm going to be making use of. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to be clicking open. Alright, as you can see, we already have our image here. This is how the whole interface looks like whenever a document is being opened or whenever I want to create a new document. Alright, and I'm going to be explaining a few things, not all of this, because I think it's almost impossible to explain everything here, but then there are some basic things that will be required of you to at least start off, or for you to be able to at least do something in Photoshop. Alright, so by my left hand side we have our toolbar. This is called the toolbar, and it contains all the necessary tools we need to either create a document, edit anything, or a design basically. So some people like their tools arranged in this order, but then there's another method or another way in which it could be arranged. And a way of changing this, maybe making it into two rows, is by coming down here and clicking this little arrow here. Some people find this more comfortable if their tools are arranged this way, but basically I love my own, the default way. And also, in case your Photoshop does not have this particular arrangement of mine, there's a way to do it. So you go down to Windows and you go down to Workspace and make sure it's on Essentials, and where it's written in bracket default, or you could just come to Reset Essentials to reset it or make it look like mine. And also another important aspect of this I would like you to know is the layer section. Now Photoshop isn't like CorelDRAW where we have where we could just bring in things like backgrounds or maybe create a text and on top of each other without any layer. In Photoshop we have what we call layers, and the way these layers are arranged is that whatever you bring into Photoshop or whatever you create to Photoshop stays on top of another layer. That is, if let's for instance you bring a background into Photoshop and maybe you typed out or created a text, it forms a layer above the background. Some of us will get to understand this better as we proceed. All right. We also have in the toolbar. First of all, before talking about the toolbar or before making changes to the toolbar, I would like to explain the image section of this. As you can see above here, we have file, edit, image, layer, type, select, filter, 3D view, and so on and so forth. But then I'll be explaining the image section of this, or the image part of this, because as I said earlier, I'll be starting off with a little photo editing tip before we proceed to the design or the graphic design section. Now, as you can see, this is an image. Now, to make this image pop, or to make some little adjustments to this image, I'll go down to image, and as you can see, there is mode adjustments, auto tone, and the rest. Now, the place I'll be majoring on here is the adjustment section. Whenever you go to the adjustment section, as you can see, we have a menu popped up where we have brightness / contrast, level, curve, exposure, vibrance, hue and saturation, and so on and so forth. Now, looking closely at this, you discover that we have a line here, meaning that this drop down is divided into sections. You understand? And for the first section, we have brightness and contrast, levels, curve, and exposure. Now, what this first section is majors on, or should I say does more, it's usually help you make adjustments to your brightness and your contrast, maybe the brightness or contrast of the image or whatever you are working on. And the second part deals majorly with the colors. That's why you get to see hue and saturation there. All right, let's assume I want to make changes to this image. Maybe I just want to work on the brightness and contrast a little. What I do is select brightness and contrast, and you have a box appear, and here you can just make adjustments to the brightness. As you can see, as I increase the values, the brighter it becomes, and as I reduce the values, the less brighter it becomes. Now you can also work on the contrast. You can also adjust the contrast here. As you can see, there are some changes, as you can see. So that's basically what it's all about when you come down to image and you go down to adjustments. Now in the second section of this, other things, there are also other things that changes you can make, like the levels, the curves, and so on and so forth, but they are all around the same thing. Now if you come down here, we see vibrance, hue and saturation. Now this majorly has to do the colors. As you can see, I just clicked on hue and saturation, and what I have here is I have a box also appear where I could make adjustments. As you can see, colors are changing. The more I move it, the more I make changes to the colors, especially on the background. And now we also have saturation here, where I could still work on the saturation if I wish to, and also lightness, that's whether bright or dim. Now I'm sure we get to this point. All right, I'll just click on OK. Though I'll be canceling this because I don't really want to make any changes to this right now. So this is basically what happens. And also the second thing I'm going to be showing you here is how to take off a background, maybe the background of an image. And to easily do that, I'll be clicking one of these tools here, which is the quick selection tool. Now this quick selection tool is used to select a particular thing in whatever you are doing, maybe an image, and I just want to take off the background and pick this man here. What I just do is to take the quick selection tool, and when I take the quick selection tool, I just come down to, now you could select this thing, this image on your own manually, and there's another way of doing that. You could just come to select subject. So when I click on select subject, it automatically selects, sorry for the slight delay, it automatically selects the image for me. As you can see, it's automatically selected the image for me. All right, so what I'll be doing here now is to take off this background, I'm just gonna right click on this. I'm just gonna select layer via cut. Now what this did was that it took out the selected image, and as you can see, it took out the selected image here and formed another layer. That's what I meant by Photoshop work with layers. Whatever changes you make, it creates a layer, or sometimes you have to create your own layer for it. Now, so as you can see, you can actually turn off your layers here wherever you have something like an eye. So as you can see, I just turned this, that's the former layer I had, off, and as you can see, I have my image alone here. So that's how Photoshop usually works. and that's one of the easiest ways. There are several ways, but that's one of the easiest ways of taking off a background. And before I proceed, I forgot to do something which I'm going to be doing now. Under all of these tools you find here, there are other tools in them, and to find out that tool, you just click on it and hold it, and you find other tools under it. As you can see, if I click here, there are other tools under it. Now you get to make use of some of these tools depending on whatever you want to achieve or whatever you're doing with Photoshop. I'll be saying something about this toolbar. There are some tools which have shortcuts attached to them. Take for instance the move tool. That's the first tool here. If I click on V, it takes me automatically to the move tool. If I click on B, if I click on P, it takes me automatically to the pen tool. So the more you design, the more you get to understand all of these better. Now, I was saying something about layers. I said that Photoshop works with layers. Now, the importance of having layers is that you are able to work with certain things independently. You're able to work with certain things independently. Take for instance, you also when how I separated the image from the background, right? You also how I separated the image from the background. If I really wanted the background back, all I need to do is to turn on this layer and the background is back. We all have the background back, so it gives you the opportunity to work on things independently. Now I could take off this image and just leave the background. So that's the importance of working with layers. And so Photoshop gives you an opportunity to work with separate, or should I say separate components, or should I say it helps you separate the things you do. So that's the importance of layers. Now you could add your own layer, or whatever you select, maybe something like the text tool, it creates a layer for you. Now another tool I'm going to be talking about is the zoom tool. As you can see, this is the zoom tool. Now to increase whatever you're doing, all you need to do is to if you are making use of the mouse, all you need to do is to hold down Alt on your keyboard and use the roll or the scroll button around your mouse to either increase or reduce whatever you are working on. So whenever I select the zoom tool, either you make use of your mouse as I earlier explained, or all you do is after selecting your zoom tool, as you can see right here, it's on plus, that is zooming in. You just left click to wherever you want to zoom, or if you want to zoom out, all you need to do is to take it back to minus, which is to zoom out, and just left click and it will zoom out for you. So I'm gonna be explaining something right now. Also, we also have the brush tool. We also have the brush tool. Now the brush tool is usually used to maybe add some colors to whatever you are doing, or to right. Quickly I'll be going into the design aspect of this, which is one of the most important aspects. So to delete the layer, whenever I want to delete it, I can just select on the layer and press delete on your keyboard to take off that layer. So let's go back to our home. Now we'll be creating a new file, we'll be creating a new document. That's we'll be trying to create a new design from scratch. So all we need to do is to go down to new file. So I'll go down to new file. As you can see, a menu is going to pop up, or maybe a dialog box is going to pop up. So this is where we are going to be setting our preferences for the design we want to make. There are some already set sizes for whatever documents you want to open or whatever you want to create. Maybe a YouTube thumbnail, you can just go down to film and video, and you can see there are some default sizes of a YouTube thumbnail. So you could just come here, click on this, and it opens up. Or if in case you have the size you want to be making use of, you could just come down here and put up the size. As you can see, this YouTube thumbnail is 1920 by 1080. So I'm gonna be naming this practice right here. I'm naming this practice. You're gonna be titling everything, and you get to select whatever parameter you want to work on, whether pixels, inches, centimeters, or whatever. Then most times I prefer my resolution to be at 300 and not 72 in order to create a sharper design. And also this is where you get to change the color mode, whether from RGB to grayscale to CMYK. Okay, RGB is best whenever you want to create designs which you don't want to print. Actually, YCMYK is the best color mode for printing documents. Nevertheless, it doesn't mean that sometimes if you make use of RGB for a printed work, it won't still come out. So depending on your creativity and whatever you do. So all I need to do is to click on create rather. As you can see, the default size for a YouTube thumbnail has appeared. Now these are rulers beside it, but it's not a must to make use of the rulers. So I'm just going to be selecting the rulers and I'm going to be deleting them because I don't want to make use of a ruler. Now we're going to be doing something very practical. I'm going to be designing a YouTube thumbnail, and you're going to be seeing how I'm going to be applying some of the things I earlier said to create this thumbnail. So what I'm going to be doing is, as you can see, this is my default background. My default background is white, yes, but then I could actually change this background color, change it to whatever color I want. Now if you look down here, you see this color on top here and you see the one below it. This is called the foreground color and this is called the background color. Now you can actually interchange them if you wish. So to change the foreground color, I'm just going to be clicking on this and I'm going to be selecting whatever color I want. I think I'll be creating a YouTube thumbnail for us to see. So I'm just going to select this color down here. I'm going to click on OK. Then after clicking on OK, I'll just come to edit. And after coming to edit, I'll just come to fill, select fill, and as you can see, it's in foreground color already. So I'm just going to clicking OK, and as you can see, the color has changed to, do I call it navy blue? I call it the blue. Yes. So what I'm going to be doing is, as you can see, this was the initial image I opened. All I needed to do is to come back here or click on Ctrl N to create a new document. I actually did not close this. So here you have several works opened. Let's assume you want to work on something. I don't want to close on another thing. All you need to do is press Ctrl N or create a new document, and it will also appear here, meaning I can also go back to my previous work. So I'm just gonna go back to this, and in Photoshop you can actually drag a layer from one document or one opened document to another. So I'm just going to be dragging this image without a background from here. So I'm going to pick in the layer, drag it into the new document I created, which is practice. I'm just going to be releasing this. As you can see, it's created a layer, that same layer above this. Now as you can see, this is bigger for me to work with, so I was really still want to reduce this. So all I need to do is to go down to edit, go down to transform, then I'm going to be selecting scale. So you can just zoom out in order to see this properly. You could just zoom out. So after zooming out, now I'll just scale this the way I want. Just go down here, reduce it, increase it, reduce it, increase it. If I want to distort this, that's if I don't want it to increase evenly, all I need to do is to hold down on Control and move it the way I want. Hold down on Control. Sorry, hold down on Shift rather, not Control, and I could move it the way I want. So I'll just scale this, and I think this is okay for me. This is nice for me. So I'm just gonna drop this. And whenever you make changes on some things in Photoshop, to let go of it, you just need to click on this check mark. Yes, click on this check mark. Yes, as you can see, we have the layer of the image already here. So what I'm going to be doing next is we make use of the text tool. So I'll just select the text tool. First of all, let me zoom this. Let me just zoom this, fits to screen. All right. So we make use of the text tool. I'll just select the text tool. Just selecting the text tool. I'm just going to be creating a text here, and I'll just click on this. Now, whenever I click on this, you will notice that a new layer was created. Here. Yes, meaning I'm beginning to introduce another layer containing the text. So I'm just going to click on this, and I will change this. I'm sorry you can't see this because the text is actually the same color with the foreground. So I'm going to be changing this. Whenever I click on the text tool, some things here get to change. So this is where I get to change the color. I'll just take this here to white, and I'll click on OK. Now whatever I will type will be in white. So I'm just going to be saying Photoshop tutorial for beginners. Photoshop tutorial for beginners. beginners. So to bring this down, I'm just gonna click here, backspace, and click on enter to bring it down. Just gonna backspace, click on enter also to bring it down, click on enter also to bring it down. So the short form of transforming, as I went to edit and I went to transform scale, the short form of doing that is just to hold down Ctrl plus T. You could do that rather than taking the long process. Now I'll just scale this. Yes, and when I'm done, I'm just gonna check this. Now to highlight this whole thing or make changes, you could click on it twice, or you could come here and double click. It highlights your text for you. Come here, double click, it highlights your text for you. Double click on it, highlight your text for you, and you'll be able to make changes. Now this is used to bring the whole write-up alignment to the middle. This is used to bring it to the side. This is used to bring it also to this side. Yes, so this is where we get to increase the text size or reduce the text size. This is where you get to increase or reduce the text size. Right, guys, I hope you are understanding what I'm doing. Okay, this is how you get to increase or reduce it, and this is where we get to change the font. We change the font right here. We'll select whatever font we want to make use of. Let's take, for instance, I want to make use of Bebas. Let me just type it here, Bebas. Yes, and I get this. I'll just select this, and my fonts get to change. You can increase your font size by just coming to this place and just drag sideways. You gradually increase your font. Yes, so and there's a way we can make, let's say, advanced corrections or advanced changes to this particular text. So just come here, click here, and that's where you get to change the character, you get to change the tracking. That's how distant they are from each other. So if I want this more spaced out, or I want this more closer, I could just come here, select this, and drag to make it more closer, and I could drag upwards to separate each word or each text from another. Maybe I could just put 150. You could just type it, either you drag it or you type it. I'll just write down 150. As you can see, the text is closer, and I could just type 50, and you can see they are more far apart. So this is how to do some of these things. I could also increase the space between the characters. As you can see, yes, as you can see. Now this is used to either make the text short or tall. As you can see, I place it on 35 and it made it short. So I'll just click on 100 and it makes it the normal size. Now this is used to increase the space between the characters. As you can see, as I drag, it either increases it or reduces it. If you want to include, you could also include the value, that if you know the exact value you want. Now I can use this to bring it back. I can also use this to create space between the text. I could bring it closer to each other. I could make it far apart. So guys, this is basically how this is done. So I could just click on this. I could still double click on this. I'll come here, double click on it, and I could still change the color. If I'm not comfortable with this color, I could just come here, look for another color which I'm comfortable with. Let's pick a color from here. You could actually pick a color from here. Just select your color picker. Okay, so sorry about that. You can also pick your color from here. Yes, I think this is okay. This is nice, and I'll just click on OK. Now guys, as you can see, I have my text already written here. I'll just hold on Ctrl plus T, and I'm gonna scale this. We just scale this to make it bigger. So guys, this is okay. I'll just check this and right click on this. Check this, select my zoom tool, right click on this, and let me zoom out, or I'll make use of my scroll bar. Hold down Alt and make use of my scroll bar. So guys, this is basically how to navigate through Photoshop. This is how to make changes to some things in Photoshop. Now this video does not contain everything you need, but then it's good for a start. It's good for a beginner. to beginning to understand some basics. So guys, I'm gonna be tying it up here. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please do well to subscribe and make sure you turn on the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever we make any new uploads. Subsequently, there will be more tutorials on Photoshop, there will be more tutorials on some designs. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.